Hi, welcome again to Immigration Talk with yours truly, Michelle Fanger. I'm an immigration attorney and also a Florida family law attorney. Well, this program is focused on immigration, and I hope you enjoy the first installation of our show. And I'm excited to just provide the information to our community, to provide the knowledge that will empower us. So, are you excited to go for today? What am I going to talk about today? As I mentioned, I'm going to talk about issues that directly impact our community and questions that I might get. Remember, the information I provide is just general information, and it's not me having an attorney-client relationship with you or providing actual legal advice. You still will need to consult with an attorney. So for today, I'm excited. So one of the questions I had from the last show was from an individual who stated that an application was filed for an individual. They were approved, but on the application, they did not list all their children. And no, they'd like to petition for their children. So that's a no-no, because when you do an application form for immigration, whatever information you provide that they ask for, you have to be honest and upfront. And if you neglect to provide the information knowingly, to them it appears as if you're committing fraud or misrepresentation to get an immigration benefit. So when you're going through the process, you have to list all your children. For men, I know a lot of men like, I'm not sure if that child is my child, but if there's any inclination that it could possibly be your child, I definitely recommend that you list that child. It doesn't mean that you're going to petition for them, but listen all your children. So in this instance, it was a mother who did not list her children. In that situation, because you have not listed them and you were aware that it was your children, petitioning for them would create a problem for you with your immigration status, because if you do file the petition, they actually review all applications that you have submitted prior, whether it's a visa application or any application, and they'll cross-reference the information. And if they cross-reference and say, well, something is missing and why wasn't it disclosed, then you have an issue where they will pull up your actual file that you went through the process of your green card, and then they actually could take away, even if you become a citizen, could take away your citizenship, strip you of that, and then put you through the deportation process. So it will be something to think about. So always be honest when you do your application. If you don't know something, it's okay to say, I don't know. Don't make up information, don't make up facts, okay? So that was one of the questions that came in on the last show. So I'm here to answer those questions. But as always, I always say, still speak to an attorney. And okay, so for today, what I'm going to talk about is a form of relief that individuals are entitled to who are going through the immigration process. And it's a topic that I've had a lot of calls about in regards to individuals who are married or children who are being petitioned for by their step-parent or their parent, and they're going through a situation where the individual who is petitioning for them are abusing them. So abuse doesn't have to be the physical hitting. So it could be psychological, it could be many things, financial abuse, where they let you work, they take all your money, they threaten to get you deported. Like if anything happened, they'll be like, I'll call immigration and get you deported. So these are things that you're not supposed to do. And the bodies that govern immigration understand that people do go through extreme or heart-wrenching situation in order to realize the American dream. I said Jamaica, the American dream. So what they do is they implemented something that will protect these individuals, that if you're here and you could prove that you did go into your marriage in good faith, meaning it was an actual marriage, it was your spouse, you're in love, you did everything together, but things fall apart, you're being abused, and you're a good citizen, meaning you don't have any major criminal offenses, then they'll say, all right, you know what, you could petition for yourself, either doing a VAWA, that is for victim of abuse, which you have to meet certain elements to do, or if you already have your conditional green card, then you could have the conditions removed by petitioning for yourself because you've been abused and gone through the process. But not because you say you're abused, meaning, or just saying abuse and that's good. You still have to establish the facts to actually prove that you were abused. So it's not one simple step. But I've had other people like, what do I do? Sometimes spouse, like you have the interview date, the spouse will be like, I'm not showing up, I'm not going because you need to do this or whatever. But you don't have to have a chain and balls and be forced and be threatened. So this is why you have these relief for individuals who are going through the process but are facing any amount of abuse. What I do recommend to my clients is that whatever you're going through, if things don't seem right, keep a record of it and do speak to somebody about it. And a lot of people might be like, oh, it kind of like embarrassing to talk about what I'm going through. You don't want to talk to your friends or family. But sometimes you have to put pride aside, because by talking to somebody, you're able to get help. And this is a problem I've seen a lot of people who have reached out to me after, but because I've been so quiet about the circumstances, the time has elapsed in order to get the relief that they need. So definitely speak up if something is happening. You don't have to go tell the world, but definitely look into it. So these are things that you're entitled to if you're going through the process. So that is one major thing that I want to talk about, because I've gotten a lot of calls about it. And another thing that people are going through, because to be honest, we all come here because we want to get the American dream, and we want to accomplish so many things that we're not able to accomplish in our home country for whatever reason, and we want opportunities. And it is unfortunate that people will take advantage of those opportunities. And this is also similar for individuals who do come here and are working for certain companies or even like family members, and they're being taken advantage of, meaning that they don't pay them on time and they're overworked. They have horrible living conditions because, like in certain situations, which I've had, where they had them bundled up in a room with like several people in one room, and they have to pay rent. Like basically the rent is more than what they're actually working. And that is very inhumane. And I know people will do whatever to get a job, but then the government does realize that human trafficking is a big issue and people are being taken advantage of. So you are still entitled to a form of relief where you're able to adjust your status, get your documentation through this, and by establishing what you're going through. And again, as I said, always speak to somebody about what you're going through, but make sure the people that you speak to are people that are knowledgeable and are aware and can assist you. I also recommend that you reach out to an attorney, even if you don't go through the full process of paying an attorney, but definitely speak to an attorney who is more knowledgeable of the law, because immigration consistently changes, and things that might be okay was the law years ago have been adjusted and changed. So you do need to speak to someone that is versed on it. And especially too, like in some instances, because some cases are so rare, not all attorneys are familiar with it, but they will do the research to get the correct response that you need. So I always recommend doing that. And whenever you're going through things while going through the process, try to get the best information. Try to speak to people, as I said before, that are able to assist you. And you could reach out to me at the Fanger Law Firm. I'm on all social media, or you could send me an email at admin@fangerlawfirm.com. And I hope that the information I'm providing is somewhat helpful to you in how you navigate living in the United States. And remember, one of the major things I talked earlier about being abused through relationship. I always tell my clients, if you're in a situation where you're being abused, I know sometimes people will get to a point where they might get physical. I always say walk away, because oftentimes what happens is that you're the one being abused. The one moment you lash out or something, you're the one that have a criminal record. And having a criminal record with domestic violence is one of those things that will automatically get you deported. One of those crimes that to the US is really morally corrupt to abuse, and here it is wrong. And I've spoken to but in the United States, it is wrong to, any form of abuse is wrong. But I remember I was talking to somebody and I was like explaining the whole, like, oh, this case, like, do you understand the crime? Like, it was abuse, like, that's what the charge is, domestic violence. And they're like, oh no, it was just a little hit. It's nothing. It shouldn't be charged for it, but it doesn't matter what you think. The law is clear that it is a big deal. No matter if you push the person or it is a big deal. So you have to be careful and be mindful about these things and be aware of the laws of wherever you live and how it might impact you. And this segue into me saying that if you are going through a criminal case and you are going through the immigration process, even if you haven't started the immigration process yet, even if you're just here on a visitor's visa, speak to an immigration attorney before you plead to anything. Because sometimes you might say, all right, I just plead to it, and the only thing is that I pay a fine or I get probation. But sometimes the crime that you're pleading to, even though you don't get jail time, might have severe immigration consequences, which will prevent you from ever adjusting status in the United States, and also will prevent you from entering the United States. So you have to be mindful of that. So always, if you're going through the process, speak to an immigration attorney. If you're going through a criminal issue, speak to an immigration attorney. Even before you plead, let them know that you have to speak to an immigration attorney, because you don't want to have something that impacts you later on in life. And this segue into me talking about individuals who come here on visitor's visa. When you're coming here on a visitor's visa, you're only supposed to visit. You're not supposed to come here to work. If you're coming here to work, you have to come here with the proper work document. If you're coming here to get married, you have to come here under the right category as a fiancé, right? So I've had people, but the thing is that if you come into the United States and your intent was just to visit and whatever, but things change. Like, for instance, you decide, like, after a while, you know what? I love my girl or I love my guy and I don't want to leave. I do want to get married. Then you could definitely go ahead and get married, because your intent at the time was not to get married. You really intended to come here for a vacation. So they really look at your intent. So that's okay. And also, if you want to work, if you do come here to work, then you could apply to get the proper work documentation, or you could apply to go to school, but you have to ensure that you come here under the required category when you come here, because it's a violation, because they do look at your record. So if you're traveling here consistently, they could look at it and say, why does it look like this person is working? And once you come the next time, they could pull you from the line when you're going through custom and say, let me look at your phone, let me look at your history. Why are you traveling to this place? You stay 3 months here, you go to Jamaica, you go to your home country, you come back. Are you working? And then they look into it. And if they suspect it or see it, what they could do is revoke your visa, send you back home. And also, this will preclude you from traveling in the future. One last thing I want to touch on before I know we're running out of time is for those individuals that have green card. You are required to maintain your status. If you intend to stay out of the country for over 6 months to a year, what you need to do is basically ask for permission to stay out, which is like a waiver for 2 years. So you do that before you leave. So this will prevent you from having issues when you overstay. For whatever reason, you might end up staying in your home country for an extended period of time, and this might cause a problem. So a lot of people, they have to, rescind a green card and all these things, which you can avoid up front, because usually when you do this waiver, you have a 2 year to do whatever. You don't have to travel to the United States within those 2 years. So definitely look into doing that. And I hope this show was very informative. And I hope you learn, and I hope you enjoy Immigration Time. Tell your family and friends. It's on Jamaicans.com. And I look forward to speaking and talking to you all, and definitely send in your questions, and I will definitely respond. And if you want to learn more, you could reach out to me at admin@fangerlawfirm.com, or you could find me on social media at the Fanger Law Firm. Have a wonderful afternoon.